this isn't his first 2 games.
Yeah.
We have to remember that. And I think what is happening a lot in the fan base, a lot of the fans I've been speaking to and engaging with, both online and in person, is there seems to be this sort of power shift amongst fans of one set saying, this is a new season, give him time, etc. And the other half saying, hold on a minute. No, when you finish 15th and what happened last year happened, we don't get to this season and act like it never happened, especially when you're seeing some of the same traits as a continuation from that. And for me, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing some traits from last year which aren't gone yet, and that is a concern for me. On top of some of the decisions that he's making.
Yeah,
in game, not making sense.
Yeah.
Before the game with the starting lineups, etc.
Yeah.
Some of it's not adding up, right?
No, it isn't. I agree. That some of the in-game tactics. Well, let's just strip it all back. I mean, you talk about the same traits that are poking through and the negatives that are poking through. They all point to it's either the system or it's decisions Amorim's making. I think there's a lot of fall guys. Both. It's both. That's what I mean. And look, we can individualize players. We can do that. And there is a lot of fall guys. I mean, Bruno has taken so much stick. I understand some of it, but he's taken loads of stick. Obviously, it's a magnifier when it's Manchester United. It's always amplified. But really, the only person we can look at as an individual and say you've not been good enough is Amorim. He's the only person really out of everyone where we can say that, because he's taken us backwards. Now, I'm backing him. Okay, I don't know what camera I'm looking at.
But it's just a fact, though.
But that is a
backwards.
fact. Yeah, we have gone backwards, and so I'm concerned. I'm concerned about a few things. Like you said, I mean, sometimes he's refreshingly honest, and I like him as a manager. I like him as a person, and he stayed back and he signed everything for the fans. You know, when I was at Old Trafford, then he's a good bloke, definitely, and he's refreshingly honest in his conferences. But like you said there, Ange, that's a bit too honest for my liking. You're the manager. Sort it out. If they forgot how to play, that is something that you need to be doing. Like, that's not something that we want to be hearing.
But he was talking like he wasn't in control of his
Exactly.
players,
That's
being
what I
like,
mean.
oh yeah, and they were just trying to hold on to the lead. But you're on the touchline. You should be saying to them, no,
Yeah.
let's go forward. But then I think the subs that he's making, this obsession with bringing centre-backs in, what kind of message is that sending? And I thought it was interesting because he made subs like, 4 or 5 minutes into the second half?
Yeah, 50th minute.
I don't know
He
if that
brought
was
on Dallo and Seska.
if that was a tactical situation of he literally said, you've got 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite interesting. I guess Casemiro was on a yellow as well, which does make a difference. But I do agree. I think some of these in-game decisions that he's making, you are questioning.
It's also like the way he's building the squad, right? Because I've had to take a step back. So I'm really excited by the signings we've made. But I've been questioning what the actual thinking is and how it's going to transpire on the pitch. Because what our manager has done is brought in 2 brand new number 10s who we're happy to see.
Yeah.
On top of a bunch of number 10s we already have. Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo in this system, supposedly. Mason Mount, Ahmad, who's now converted into a right wing back, but essentially play right 10. So that's like 5, 6 number 10s that we have. Then he's taken our best and most effective player in Bruno Fernandes and placed him in midfield, and then told one of our brightest prospects in Kobbie Mainoo that you are now competing with a place, his words, not mine.
Yeah.
Kobbie Mainoo is competing with a place in this team with Bruno Fernandes.
Someone who's undroppable.
Someone who's undroppable, someone who's the captain. And when you say undroppable, let's be honest, Bruno played a 2 out of 10 and should have probably come off the pitch. Now, when does Bruno Fernandes ever come off the pitch? Probably towards the end of Eric Ten Hag's tenure when he started getting a few substitutes out. And he was like, oh, that's a bit different.
But he should have been hooked earlier.
So you're telling Kobbie Mainoo that I don't fancy you over Bruno, this isn't even his position.
Yeah.
I don't fancy you over Mason Mount because when he took off Casemiro, put Mason Mount back one into central midfield, let's not forget. So I don't fancy you over him. Then he brings on Ugarte. Again, he doesn't do anything apart from nearly get booked.
Yeah.
So if you're Kobbie Mainoo, and also the rest of the United squad, you're thinking, well, our midfield is toast. You play a midfield too, which if you're going to do that, you need some head of centre midfielders inside there.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, Bruno Fernandes now all of a sudden, which I knew this would happen. He's going to become the scapegoat because what you've done is you've extenuated all of his weaknesses, all of his deficiencies and put them on blast and taken away sort of his superpowers, which is creating, which is goals, which is influencing the game at the top end of the pitch.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem, Ryan.
It's a massive problem. We're talking about someone who's in the 50-50 club with the likes of, and Crook was here, of Cantona and Scholes and Giggs and Rooney and all this. Someone who's, no one's created more chances than him since he's walked through the door in the whole of the Premier League. This is a machine. When Mbeumo and Cunha and Mount are all on the field, make no mistake about it, Bruno's better than all of them in the 10. He's the best 10 in the league. So, and we knew this problem was going to happen with Bruno, but I just had this faith in Amorim that he had a fix for it. Do you know what I mean? That look, you're clearly gonna drop Bruno a little bit deeper, but you've got some kind of solution there.
Yeah.
That
we have none.
We haven't. And look, and it's only 2 games into the season, and I have to say, virtually word for word, I agree with everything you've said just there. The only thing that we can take solace in is it's only 2 games in, and Cobby, there's still room for him to come in. Let's be honest. It could against Burnley.
There's reports saying that he potentially wants to leave, or would look at his future. Are you surprised by that? Then? Or do you see why?
It makes me feel sad. I think with the Bruno Fernandes situation, he is not a box-to-box midfielder. So you're asking him to play in a position where he's not comfortable. Now, him partnered up with, 25-year-old Casemiro, amazing, but what, he's 30, 33? I look at these signings that have been made and I question, A, what was going on behind the scenes with these links to Bruno exiting, and B, is this a bit of a succession plan? I mean, he's not in the retirement home yet. He's 31.
Do you think Bruno should have been sold? Do you think we should have cashed in on Bruno for £100 million and rebuilt the squad differently?
I think had I known the signings that we were going to make, I think it's definitely a discussion, because if I get what you're saying, that he's, one of the best number 10s in the league, but he's 31 years of age, and how long do we go where we don't have succession plans at Manchester United? You're bringing in 2 younger players who overperformed their XGs last season. They were absolutely brilliant, Mbeumo and Cunha. You have Ahmad, you have Mason Mount as well. The way that I'm looking, and this isn't because I want Bruno Fernandes to go, because I think he's a brilliant captain, he's a brilliant player. But when I'm looking at how this is being set up, they should have got rid of him. Yeah. Because if you're not going to play him in one of them number 10 positions, you're hindering the growth of a young player in Kobbie Mainoo by playing him, because he's your captain and because he is a good player. I question the recruitment that we've done, because it does look like it was a succession plan. So was it as clear cut as we all think that Bruno didn't want out? Were there more discussions? I don't know. But I think with the Kobbie Mainoo thing, I have to look at Amorim, and we're giving him time and everything, but, why is he sidelining all of our young talent? And it's really bugging me. You think of that picture of Mainoo, Garnacho, Højlund, sat there posing, smiling. They were part of a lot of campaigns and shoots and stuff like that. Fair enough, Garnacho, it's not working. Højlund, he's not been able to get the best out of him. But Kobbie as well, I don't think when Amorim came in, was he sat there with Ineos being like, oh yeah, no, like all your young talent, they're no good. There was clearly some conversation. That hasn't happened, yeah. So, he should be a good enough coach. Fair enough if Garnacho hasn't worked. Fair enough if Højlund hasn't worked. But he should be a good enough coach to get someone like Kobbie Mainoo into that system. I think that he should be able to. We've seen that certain players can adapt. I think that somebody like Mainoo should be a priority. And like you say, he's not going to displace Bruno Fernandes.
No, he's not. No, because nobody does. I think
he could leave. I do think he could.
We're gonna get into the Kobbie situation very shortly in more depth. Back to the Fulham game, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are most of the negatives out of the way. Positives, Ryan. Like you said.
Yoro. Yeah. That is a hell of a baller we have on our hands, isn't he? What a defender. It makes you think. Obviously, we spent a lot of money for a teenager, and we kind of jumped the gun because it was Real Madrid that are coming. Yeah. But my goodness, already that signing is coming to fruition as wow. We've got a hell of a player on our hands to make that last-ditch tackle on one end of the field, and then go to the other end of the field. I think Yoro is definitely one of the, if not the biggest positive, and another one. Cunha.
Yeah.
What a player he is.
In fact, actually, it's a bit worrying, and I'm really negative today, guys. I'm going to be honest. I feel like it was almost like give the ball to. It was almost like he replaced Bruno in terms of give the ball to him so we can do something.
Yeah.
Because Mbeumo looked off it. A mixture of himself getting frustrated, wasn't winning his duels with Bassi and Sessegnon down that side, and Iwobi, sort of that trio down that Fulham left-hand side was doing a number on him.
Yeah.
And system-wise, we just weren't really finding him. Like, we created so many 1v1 situations for him in transition against Arsenal, whether that would be by design for Arsenal or because we played the game like that. It wasn't like that what type of game against Fulham, and I think Bruno got frustrated. But Cunha, every time he got the ball, especially like you said, first 15, 20 minutes, he hits the post, he plucks that ball out the air from Bayindir, and that's the only place he could really shoot because of the angle he was at with his left foot. He had to go that side. Good save from Leno. You're thinking it's just a matter of he flashes one just over in the first minute or so, and you go, he looks at it. So that is a positive. But I'll be honest, that's the only positive I see. Defensively, I think we were okay. Yeah. We weren't getting... That's what's frustrating about... I mean, some fans have tried to paint this picture, Ange, that, Fulham were all over us and they actually played us off the park, and not really. Apart from Bayindir looking petrified at every corner, which is obviously why we're getting the goalkeeper. Apart from that, he made 2 good saves, one with his feet and one that he parried out to the right-hand side. But other than that, when Fulham actually scored... it was like the first shot I remember having him in ages. So defensively, as a unit, we're okay. But system-wise, in terms of creating as many chances like we did against Arsenal, that wasn't there apart from the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I think that we were the better team for 20 minutes. I think the rest of the game, you could argue, I think Fulham did have some good moments. I mean, Fulham can sit there, and I've seen the things that some of the players and the manager have been talking about how they knew how to exploit Man United, etc. Listen, when you're playing with those 2 in midfield, you're going to be up against 3 normally. And when you have 2 players that either aren't fit enough or a little bit old, or then that's not their position that they're comfortable in, of course you're going to be able to exploit that. They didn't exploit it that well because they didn't win.
No, exactly.
So I think a better team with better players, that does scare you moving forward. But no, I mean, props to Fulham. They had some good moments, but I don't think they were going on like it was a giant killing or something. It was like, I think, calm down on that one. But I agree with the defence. I think I've been really impressed with Yoro. I've been really impressed with De Ligt as well. He looks like
really aggressive.
Yeah, and I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about De Ligt, and someone said like he's getting gobby, and I made a point of watching the game, and he's barking instructions, and I like that kind of captain De Ligt is coming through, because the way that he became captain when he was 18 at Ajax, it was a case of they'd lost a game, all the players were complaining about the ref and the conditions, and he was the one who stood up and said, we need to look at ourselves here, and that is how he got that captaincy, and we're starting to see a bit more of that De Ligt, and I really, really like that, and I'm really rooting for him. But yeah, like him and Yoro definitely stand out. Luke Shaw, I'm always rooting for the guy. Don't think he was as good as the other 2, but listen, we've got Luke Shaw back and we know what he can do, so that is exciting. But yeah, I think it's hard. There aren't loads of positives, but I think if you're looking for some, it's those 3.